one of them specifically. Till now, we have been into sessions where we have learned about the challenges that we are facing in our own country. But this global pandemic has brought all of us together, and we all are facing a similar situation in our own country. So I wanted to use this opportunity with the help of all these great educators with us right now from various countries to let us know, to let us educate that what practices they have adopted in their particular country, which we can also adopt in our country, maybe if possible, and make things better for our students and the teachers as well. So let us begin with this small introduction of all the participants today, and we will have a lot of opportunity to learn from each one of them. So I won't give you that much time, my panelists, to speak about yourself, because we have a long discussion to go further, but maybe for sure in sometime in future. Okay, so I would like to begin with Dr. Suzanne Gay-Wimett. She is from Blue Planet, and she's presently hailing from Florida, USA. Hi, Suzanne. Welcome to the session.
Thank you.
Yeah. Then we have with us Andrea Manele. He's a teacher of English and French from San Filippo, Italy. Hi, Andrea. Yeah, Andrea, you're on mute. Let me
unmute your microphone.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Good evening, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste, Andrea. Now we have with us Sevim Sareen, Head of Foreign Language Department from Turkey.
Yes, hello everyone. Good evening.
Good evening, Sareen. And we have with us our very friend from India, because I'm not representing the challenges of India this time in this session. So we have Barnali Chakrabarti, a teacher from Sanjeevani International School, Mumbai. Hi, Barnali.
Thank you, Surbhi. Namaste to all of you.
Yeah, and then we have Urifa, and she's a teacher of MTS, Muhammad Mazidian from Indonesia.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. It's a very valuable meeting, and thank you for inviting me.
Okay, we have Matthew with us. He's a teacher from St. Michel Albertville Middle School, Minnesota, USA. Hi, Matthew.
Namaste. Thank you so much for having me. This is a great privilege and honor to be here.
Welcome. We have Alina, and she was the most, she was quite keen to be part of the session, and she actually suggested for a big Padlet also. But Alina, I'm loving your presence over here. She is a teacher of English from Lyceum, Russia.
Hello. Nice to see you. I'm very happy to be with you. And today, yes, in this serious and very difficult time for everyone, for all countries, it's a great pleasure to meet nice educators and to share the ideas how we can solve them. I mean, with our educators and with our students. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so then we have with us Kwon, and he's a school teacher from South Korea. Hi, Kwon.
Hello, everyone. It is very honored that I could participate in this global discussion. And thanks.
Okay, thank you, Kwon, and thank you everyone for being part of the session. Now I would like to begin with questions for all of you, and I would like to address the questions one by one so that we can listen to the challenges of each and every country slowly and steadily, and then work on the possibilities that we could have there. Now, I would like to begin with, let me see. So I would like to have Urifa, I want to begin with you right now. Now, could you just tell me what are the 3 major challenges that you are encountering in Indonesia right now?
Yeah. There are actually the major challenge in this pandemic is because not everyone here has gadget, maybe such as laptop or mobile phone, which has internet connection. That's the first major challenge in teaching online. And the second is parents. Some of parents has no ability to operate the gadget with the internet, so they cannot assist their children how to do online classes with those one. Okay, And the third is the schedule. The schedule of teachers and also parents which who should assist the children to have a class is not matched. That's three major challenges in this online classes.
Okay, so Matthew, I just want you to help me out and relate over here that are these the similar challenges? Why I'm trying to connect over here, because we consider US to be more into the developed section, and I would like to be very practical about it. And do you think that these are the similar challenges you are facing over there also?
The technology piece for sure is definitely an obstacle that we had to overcome. We're very fortunate that a lot of my students have technology, different devices at home, tablets, Chromebooks, computers, and cell phones that they're able to use. Our school district was able to email all the parents out to see if anyone needed Chromebooks. So Chromebooks that we had in our school, we were able to essentially put out on loan to students to use if they would need to have something like that. But the technology skills, we didn't really have a whole lot of communication practice with students receiving emails and knowing where to go and all that stuff with the distance learning. So that's a challenge that we've been working to overcome ever since this started.
Okay. So now, Alina, I would like to ask you this question that, yes, Matthew has suggested that we have technology as a challenge, but I would like to ask you that what are the platforms that you've adopted specifically in your schools in Russia, which you are using right now to overcome this challenge in relation to technology and the gap that everybody is facing right now?
Here there is not only the problem of using the platform. First of all, I would say that Russian teachers were not ready for distant learning. And it is very bad because sometimes in the families we have gadgets, we have some students who are ready to learn, who are ready to get knowledge, but teachers are not ready. For example, I am a Skype master teacher, and my students, for me and for them, it was not a big problem. We did it before. We could deal with it easily. But for many teachers, it was a great difficulty because they did not know about the platforms. They did not know how to arrange step by step the educational process. Well, as for me and some of my teachers who asked me to help, we use first of all Flipgrid, and it is very easy for teachers and it is very easy for students to communicate and to see the progress, especially when the subject is oral. Well, also for my students, we use Google Classroom. So it's the special platform where we have all the aspects, the marks, the tasks, and so on. And also, because I am a teacher of English, I use Skype in the classroom, and I try to involve them in after-school activities. So virtual field trips, some excursions, some interesting guest speakers, and so on. My students like it, and they tried it many times before remote learning. But for many teachers, it was a great difficulty.
Okay. So we have Alina talking with us that yes, they are using Google Classroom as a platform and for communicating. Alina, I would like to clarify. So are you using Gmeet over here to have discussions with your students, or are you using some other platform for the virtual classes?
I use the platform for arranging the process, but other platforms are welcome also. It depends on the situation and it depends on the student's age.
Okay, so fine. Now, Alina has a major challenge which she is discussing that in Russia, the acceptability and part of teachers, maybe, I won't journalize specifically, but the teachers she is aware of are not ready to switch to the platforms and to the distance learning mode. Now, Serene, I just want to ask you for the area specifically in Turkey, that what about teachers, when I talk about, what about parents? So what is the adaptability factor of parents? That is one. And secondly, are you also facing this challenge that parents are technologically challenged, like what Urifa also shared with us earlier, and you have to train parents also. Have you started with such initiative in your end?
Yeah, this is a unexpectedly situation for us too, because our it's really a bad infection all around the world. My school is one of the private school in Istanbul, and our equipments, technological equipments, are more efficient than the other school. That's why we don't have so many difficulties to arrange the new distance education. We so frequently contact with families, parents, and we all inform them so often about the situation. The first 2 weeks it's so difficult for us, but now there is not so major problem with us, because they understand how to access, how to do online lessons. That's why we don't have so difficult situation now.
I think we have a very valid point by Serene over here, that it's more about the initial hiccup, and now it's been almost 15 days and 20 days and 1 month, or maybe more than 1 month in various countries, and now the training process is almost over and people have learned how to use these resources, and they are pretty good with it. So now, thank you, Serene, for the contribution. I would like to ask this question specifically to Andrea, that you are dealing with kids in a younger age group. And I just want to clarify this from you, that what about their digital literacy? So are you working, when you started with this whole thing, I believe kids create a lot of mess at times. And are we providing in Italy at your end, that how are you working on the digital literacy section also? I'm also aware that you are part of the ICT department in your school. So can you just help me out more in this regard?
Yes, thanks. I have to say that our school is very well equipped in terms of facing the challenges, if you want, because we started a very important path more than 10 years ago, thanks to our management. So if you want, investing in ICT has always been for us one of the priority areas, if you want. Just to tell you an example, that our school is a state institution in the region of Umbria, central Italy, is leading a regional working group, in particular for the primary school education. This is due to the expertise that our management has gained through the years. So if you want, working on ICT is a kind of vocational, is our mission here, if you want, by a state matter of fact. It's true that there are a few difficulties. So some of our teachers manifested some problems in dealing with technological management of the ongoing process. But it is, I think, also acceptable, because also we observed that through the years the training. I am personally in my 24th year of teaching in primary state school. So as far as I have observed, so the training through the years was not so homogeneous. So if you want, this can be, if you want, at the same time, one of the good point, or if you want, a not so good point for the Italian system. So I'm telling about the school autonomy, because the schools in Italy are autonomous, and excellence is available for everyone. It depends, of course, on a series of factors. And I think I must say that starting since 2007 and 2008, our management has worked very, very well. And now, if you want, we are collecting the fruits of this hard work. And as you know, as also our colleagues, I Surbhi, Bornali, Uri, Fajr, because we have been working together in the last years. One of the strongest point in our educational offer, and now it is confirmed, is the collaboration with the other schools of the world. So it's so beautiful to see how the United States, how India, how Indonesia and Turkey, since 2007 and 8, you all have been collaborating with us. And if you want, this is a point of excellence. So our parents are very glad. They confirm every day their satisfaction. And gradually, step by step, we are also trying to share these experiences also to other regional schools and also a national level.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I'm glad to know there's always a ray of hope, and we say there's always a silver lining in things. And though we all are stuck into a situation right now, but see, right now we are over here. We never thought of having this conference ever, but this gave us an opportunity to learn from educators globally. And so there's always a silver lining, and technology, yes, is a very important part. Now, Suzanne, I was saving this question for you actually. And I asked Andrea about digital literacy. But you know, before this, we all have been into a situation, we have enforced our students, keep away from technology, keep away from cell phones, and everybody making statements, it has to be an appropriate age to introduce kids into this stuff. But now, right now, we all have into a situation, we have to hand over these gadgets to our kids, to our students. Now, what about digital safety? How well are we equipped that our kids are digitally safe? Are schools at your end, and I'm asking you this question because I'm aware that you're connected to a number of schools and you have quite a good idea of how things happen over there. So what about digital safety? Are we running certain campaigns or some educational programs to make sure that our students are aware that whatever they do on internet, it leaves trail marks, it can hamper their safety, and how they have to keep themselves digitally safe in this world where anyone can connect to you through this small device? So what about that aspect?
In the school district, specifically where Blue Planet is working, there are about 180 schools in underneath the umbrella of one school district, and there's a wide variety of socioeconomic levels. So we have students that are much more versed in digital literacy and safety, because they have had devices, they have had technology, they have had exposure to these things in the classroom. And then we have other schools that have very, very little, that were kind of tossed into this whole situation of having to now connect to their schools online. So safety, and it was mentioned earlier too, a lot of the parents are not versed in technology, and so they're not able to help their students. Therefore, the students have they have their own learning curve, unfortunately, and how to be safe. And sometimes that results in accidents happening, and then students in the classrooms having to respond after the fact, after something has already happened. So we are catching up on using digital literacy and Google Classroom to work with students, and safety has been more of an afterthought, unfortunately.
I very much second your thought that even today when I was planning my sessions, and I've been taking all these sessions into online teaching, I realized after a long time that I missed on three major aspects of digital literacy, digital safety, and digital well-being. Because it's always you start working on a project and later you realize that this has happened. So yes, this has happened with many schools, and many schools are still tackling into the situation, and we are expecting that we will, outgrow into this scenario also as teachers. Now, Varnali, I want to ask you this question, and I'm very much aware about Indian scenario being part of the system, and that's why I wanted to ask you specifically about this question. That how are you teachers managing your schedules out there? So right now, teaching from home, and I believe most of you are facing this challenge. I can expect, anytime my daughter can come running over here and ask me for a watcher, or I still remember me taking a class and my kids coming forward almost in a semi-nude state into the room. So this happens. Times it happens. So I just want to ask you that, Bonali specifically, we in India have a very particular cultural thing, and working from home can be a challenge as a female out here. So how are you managing your schedules? Because you may be having some 7 classes, and then you have to arrange things for parents and everybody. So can you please share that how has the schedule changed in this situation for you as a teacher?
Thank you, Surbhi. I'll start. I'll just say, extend my gratitude to all of you. Actually, Surbhi, my schedule, or if you see in this Indian scenario, the teacher's schedule did not change. I think most of the schools, they are working from home. This has changed. Maybe the platform has changed, but timing remains the same. That is morning. So still, if I'm teaching also, I'm teaching morning hours. Like right now, we are teaching Monday to Friday, 9 to 1 o'clock. So in that way, my schedule did not change. The way I used to leave my home and all, maybe probably I'm getting more time to manage my home hand in hand and manage my teaching and all. So my schedule did not change, and most of the like my friends or other teachers, those who all are, we all, like my daughter also. So we all are attending the class maybe from different room of our house, but the timing is almost maybe 8 to 2 or 9 to 1. It varies, but it's in the morning.
Okay, so I believe Bornali has to suggest that she is not suffering as far as the schedule is concerned. And those who know that, I believe Bornali, you are from Mumbai, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I'm from Mumbai.
And that's why she is happy about it, because if you don't know about Mumbai, Mumbai is one place with traffic concerns that much in India that they say that you leave in morning and maybe you end up having your lunch in the traffic itself. So that's how Mumbai is, and maybe you are enjoying that liberty to not to be part of traffic anymore. Am I right?
Traveling is
Traveling is a challenge.
challenge.
So Banani, I would still like to understand. So because you told me that you are following the 9 to 1 routine. Now,
Yes.
Indian system, they usually have some 8 periods in a day, as they say.
Here I want to tell you that that 8-period situation probably we are not following. None of the schools are following. We have rescheduled in that way, and we have worked out like continuous 1 hour period we are getting instead 40 minutes period or 45 minutes period. And there has been some kind of cut short of our periods in the as usually we get. So in that way we are not having per day maybe 3 to maximum 4 teaching periods we are availing.
So I think at least students are at ease that they don't have to study so many subjects in a day.
That is also there. That is also there because here I want to just tell you, Surbhi, the entire platform, physical teaching, to completely switch over to digital teaching, digital learning, and the delivery and the submission of assessment. If you know Indian culture, we love to give homework, assessment, submission. So everything totally has been thrown into a new system, which is ELMS or e-learning management system. So there teachers are learning, parents are learning, students are learning apart from their core subjects. So because to overcome all these teething problem, I think we are now going little slow as usually we go. So that is where also this less number of teaching period is helping us to cope up with this new kind of a situation.
Okay, that was a good learning. And Bornali actually gave me another question, which I want to ask you, Kwan. What about the homework and assignments? I've heard many teachers, and I'm part of so many Facebook groups, and the biggest question is that how do I validate this test? How do I validate this paper?
Yes.
That has become a challenge. So Kwan, my question is for you, that how are you managing the testing and validation of the papers and all of the assignments over there. So how do you validate all the assignments and tests that you get from students right now?
During these days, we provide online learning to students. According to the annual learning plan, we have reorganized the content that can be learned online. We use a platform like Microsoft Teams and many Korean company platform, but actually to make sure to young kids to joining the internet services. But we tried our best to make them, all of them, to joining the internet services. Uh, Many teachers are sharing various class ideas and online learning media, and training is also actively underway to improve the platform for online classes. So now many Korean students, a platform was established for students to learn online at home.
Live.
And to check the assignment to students by feedback through online as a through the SNS services. And sometimes we visit some of the students that has no internet services and no mobile phones and no such internet devices.
I am very much aware about the situation when Kwan shares with us that there are students without mobile devices, there are students without internet services. The other day, I was in discussion with a school into tribal area, and they were sharing the similar concern with me. And then there are schools which are in hills, far away in the valleys, and they don't know reaching out with the syllabi is a different thing. They are not even able to reach out to students to tell them that we have to conduct classes. So yes, the challenge is there, and everybody is not at equality at this position. And now, Matthew, before I finish this session, I have this question for you, which I missed for some reason. That I have seen your class in the past, and I want to know that and understand that how are you able to build up student engagement at this moment? I'm in discussion with various teachers, and every time they come up with a situation that, Surbhi, things are fine, we are conducting these classes, but there is no active learning happening. The classes have become passive. We are not even aware if students are indulged in what we are talking to them about. So how are you making your classes more engaging and actively running in this situation of e-learning?
Well, obviously, with distance learning, that's one of the biggest obstacles that we have to be overcoming is trying to continue to have student engagement. We've been using platforms like Flipgrid and then Google Meets to have feedback one-on-one with students, with giving them some activities to do, and then to be giving them feedback on their work. Excuse me, 2 seconds. Sorry, I got a little 2-year-old running around here. So that's one of the biggest things that we're trying to overcome with the security questions that you brought up, and Dr. Wimett talked about that earlier too. We try to focus on internet security as being a big thing. So for us to be actively engaging students, it is kind of an obstacle to balance out student safety and then having that more personal experiences. We have 2 different times during the day that students can interact live with their teachers. So they can go in and ask questions about specific assignments, or they can just check in to see how things are going. But at the moment, we're still trying to figure things out and still learning every day and trying new things.
Okay. Thank you very much, all of you. Though I would like to proceed to the second round, in which I would ask all of you one similar set of questions. And my question is that when are you predicting? So I have 2 questions for all of you. The first question is that when are you predicting that this whole situation will reach to a normal pace in your country specifically? So when you're expecting that you will be back in classrooms with your students and the active learning will start all over again, the physical teaching will start all over again, because I need to just have a slight idea of how we are planning education into various countries. The second question is what about the learning gap that have happened right now? We all know that we are undergoing this process of online teaching, of online learning, and we all are aware about that. But we're also aware that there are missing links. We are aware that skill gaps are happening. Some loose ends are there. We all are aware about it. So how do you plan to cover up on this missing link, on this skill gap of the present situation which has been created right now in near future in your classrooms or in the schools you are associated with? So I would like to begin with Bornali. I will just go as per my screen now. So Bornali, I would like to begin with you first.
Me about the prediction, I am just thinking that I am thinking like generally in India, this is the time, May month, we go for summer vacation, and then by mid-June, we again open. So I am very hopeful that like that only just post summer vacation, we would like to go and meet our students and all. So this is what we are thinking and keeping our hope so high and all. And definitely, as you said, there will be gap. Like when I was talking about, we are so excited and we are learning about all the stakeholders, the parents, students, and teachers. We all are learning how to cope up with the e-learning. At the same time, there are challenges. One challenge we are facing for the very young kids, where parents are little reluctant that do we need to expose our children to this digital platform? Is it that necessary? That is one question. And second thing is, those who all have shifted from Mumbai, they have shifted to their very native place, the connectivity issues. So what we are teaching right now, bulk of students, they are missing out. So definitely when we are joining back to our school, different kind of strategies we are going through, where we may focus on the syllabus, the curriculum, rescheduling it, or right now what we are delivering also, it is not as planned, which we regularly do, because we have rescheduled our curriculum as to make it or adaptable for the distance learning. So there are lot of redoing and rescheduling is going on. So that will continue in the near future once we join back to the school. And maybe in basic education, we might have some kind of redoing, revising, and lot of, but the most challenging part for us is for the board students, like in India, what we follow in 10th standard, 12th standard. So that might be a possible, maybe that time we have to take more extra classes, or whatever strategies will be followed or taken by our school management and all. So we have to wait and see how we cope up with that.
Thank you, Barnali. For those who are not aware, like in India, we have different educational boards, and right now we have some discussion going on, and we're expecting that most probably Central Board of Secondary Education has a plan of a new type of curriculum for during this particular duration, and they're reducing the syllabi for the annual exams over here. So if in case it is happening in your country also, so please go ahead and make it part of the discussion when I ask you the same question. So thank you, Barnali. Thank you very much. I would like to proceed to my next guest as per my screen. So that's Andrea. I would like you to answer this question right now from the perspective of Italy.
Yes, now we are, if you want, in the final stage of our school year, because a circular letter was sent, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, about how to proceed with the final evaluation, in particular, of course, for our primary school. Our school year will end on the 9th of June, and I think the teachers are fully aware of, after, because you have to say that I calculated that we have been ensured 40 days, so exactly 40 days of homeschooling, actually, since the 6th of March, because the 5th of March was the last day of in-presence school. So we are in the final stage. I think, as I told you, we are proceeding quite well. And then, as far as we understand, according to the decrees of the Prime Minister, there are two main options for the restarting of the school year, which will be in September. I think the first option would be to reshape the organization of the school spaces. For example, keeping a certain distance, of course, as we are doing now in the school space. So, for example, enhancing and using, I don't know, the auditoriums, the big rooms, the corridors, and for example, also when the season allows, also the outdoor spaces. The other option, of course, is a kind of mixed, blended system. So organizing like I know that, for example, in Turkey, they have experiences in organizing a school in turns. So a first turn would be in class. So some students would attend in the real classroom, of course, so in order to reduce the number of the students. And another group would attend at the distance. So the teacher, of course, would be in the classroom. And so it would be a kind of blended learning system based on joining in presence school and also distance learning. These are the options at the moment. Concerning the second aspect, you know, I would say that I don't know, spontaneously I wouldn't focus on a gap, if you want, just because I think that as human beings and we learn from every situation. So I think, as far as I feel, as I am concerned, that this is this is a kind of experiment, if you want. It's a kind of social experiment, community experiment, a situation occurring that in this situation we have this unique opportunity to face a range of different situations, of challenges, if you want. So, but we learn all the time. We learn all the time. I think we have to trust on the capability of the human beings to always focus on what we can gain, on what we can learn. And because it's our path here on this planet, or at least, if you want, this is my personal feeling. I think that also, if you want, we could take the chance to continue to strengthen our education, our institutional, community, human, professional relationships. And I don't know, why not we could start to talk about, consider a kind of joint global school model, if you want. So I don't know, just we can take the chance to reflect on our capability to share together, to consider ourselves educators, students, and communities as one human family. And of course, creating, working together about, I don't know, a curriculum, key competencies, for example. You know that here in Europe, the Council of Europe has been ensuring a wonderful work, a wonderful job since many years on the key competencies. So reflecting together on what we really need, what the students need, and taking this moment as an opportunity to go on well, you know, to go on with trust, with a sense of positivity, because we are strong, you know, because we are strong, we are intelligent, we are wise, and this is what I'm personally feeling.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrea. And yes, that was a good point, that we have this opportunity of this global school. And yes, we all are part of that education system right now, being part of this session. Now I would like to take forward with this question, and as per my screen, it's Matthew. So I would like you to answer the same question, and maybe Suzanne would have a similar point of view being from the same country, but still I would like to hear both of you separately on your perspectives. Matthew, we cannot hear you. I don't know.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. So as far as for the rest of this school year, we have about 4 more weeks of distance learning, and then we go on our summer break until the end of August. So as of right now, I believe everyone in Minnesota is under the assumption that we will all be going back to a physical classroom in the fall, and that's what we're going to be doing. Obviously, things change within the government, and different regulations can come out pertaining to the physical space between students and classrooms. So as of right now, we're still planning on going back in September. And then with the learning gaps question, one of the things that we did with distance learning is that we actually got rid of the letter grade per se, and we switched to a pass-fail grading system. And so students that were able to get a 60% or better essentially received a passing grade for the rest of the school year. Those that did not received a failing grade. We also took into account the first 2 trimesters of our school year and only had those 2 trimesters contribute to the final grade that they will have on their report card for this year. So we're still being flexible with that, and being well aware that there are going to be learning gaps, and that we're just going to focus on those first 2 trimesters versus this last one where we're doing distance learning. To overcome some of the learning gaps, I know that we're focusing on students doing well. One of the things that I like to think about is that students now have kind of an unprecedented time to step up to the plate, so to speak, and to hold themselves more accountable, to learn more about emails, to learn more about having a schedule that works for themselves. And I feel as though that will help them overcome some of these learning gaps in the near future. And so I think that this experience is very valuable for teachers and for students, to be taking away different things from that. And then as educators, we are all pretty flexible with overcoming obstacles with students not knowing what exactly to do, or not having the strongest ability to do various parts of whatever class that they're in. And so I think we're all going to be coming back this next year, focusing on that there are things that students may have missed, and then focusing on things that students have been doing well in a non-traditional classroom.
Thank you, Matthew, for your input, and I appreciate for the information you gave us. I just love the grading part, the way you have shifted the grading system. I think that's a learning we all can have for our schools over here in India also, that we can make it more easier on students than to go with the old attitude of the grading system. So yes, that's a takeaway point for me in my system right now over here. So yes, now Urifa, I would love to learn from what we are doing in Indonesia and how this could be a blessing for all of us. I think Urifa, you are again on, just let me unmute you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. We assumed that we can back to physical meeting in the classroom on the last of June or early of July, but it is optional, that we waiting for the government permission whether we can open the school or we still on the online classroom at that time. But we will, as educator, we will be ready anytime the government informed us when shall we start the school again. But estimation is on last June or early July. And then for myself, I think fortunately we trained our students to have a long distance classroom like what we did a couple years, that We have a platform like ePulse, Seesaw, and Google Classroom. That's an initial program for English, especially. So yeah, and I agree with Andrea that as a human, our creativity will improve by the situation, and the power of challenge will make us more creative and to overcome the skill gap. That's why for 1 month or 2 months in a lockdown, here students, teacher, and also parents are more creative with the situation. So this pandemic also has was it the benefits to all of us that we become more creative with the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Rifa. Thank you for the information. I was having a discussion the other day in my family, and I was talking about one thing that earlier we were part of a millennial generation where there was a set of educators who were highly apt with technology, and then there was a set of educators who had experiences, but they were slightly challenged when it came to technology. Now, what has happened in this situation that the gap has got automatically filled up. We have every educator has turned into a YouTube video creator. People are creating amazing videos and sharing it with students, and they have learned technology as the need of the hour has come. So yes, so we always have a ray of hope. Thank you, Rifa. That was something for sure. Now, Alina, my next, the same question goes to you that I've been asking as a journal question from all of you. So what is your perspective from the perspective of Russia that you would like to share with us?
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to tell you that usually in May, we have some days off, and it is a holiday of victory, the 9th of May, and the Labor Day, the 1st of May. But this year, our government has declared the days off from the 1st to the 11th of May. So students don't study now, we have some days off. And it is also connected with the problems we have now, we are faced now. And I can't say that for the whole country, but for me, the main problem is that we need to transform our education, I mean the system of education, and of course include some special things for teachers. So I mean how to use the gadgets, how to have the online lessons and so on. And I liked the idea of Bonali about that school must be the place of the society when parents, teachers and students are together. It's a great idea when we can collaborate together and when we can provide the ideas. Nowadays, the students know many things, use the gadgets easily, and of course they can teach also, both parents and the teachers, and it would be a nice idea. But our government understands the problem, and they have already declared also that they are planning to spend a lot of money for education of teachers, for using the gadgets, for using the technologies in teaching process. And I think it is also a good idea. I'm not sure that we will come back this year, I mean school year, because usually we finish school year at the end of May, probably 25th, 29th of May. The situation here now is very unstable, and we have, for example, even today, 10,000 ill people. 10,000, can you imagine? So I'm not sure that we will come back this school year, but for the future, I can see that we can solve the problem. We can try to improve something if we have some special steps. And the first step is to pay attention to our system of education, including remote learning. The second reason is to make our school like the place of the society, the whole society, to involve not only students and parents, but also some organizations and something like that, maybe even to teach and to learn. And the third thing is we must understand, I mean, here in Russia, that school, it is not only learning subjects. It is also after school activities. Now we miss each other, and students show me that they want to spend more time with me, they want to play. That's why, for example, in our school we have some after school activities like evening Kahoot. We get together and we play different Kahoots. Before I created them, now I tried to learn them, to teach them how to do that. They create Kahoots and we play every evening at 9:30, and we get many and many more and more students and even parents, and we communicate that way. I think it's also a good idea to be together, and do not forget that this difficult time will pass away.
Alina, I would love a better elaboration on evening cahoots, because I just love this name. I don't even know what it means in Russian. I'm expecting it's the word kahoot is something in Russian, or is it an English word? Can you just tell this much to me?
Well, we play the same, so we use Kahoot.it, like quizzes.
Okay.
Of course, I use, for example, for me in English, it is easy for me because I'm a teacher of English. But when I asked my students what they want, we use now biology, music, geography, everything, and they create the Kahoots. For example, they have a topic in different subjects and they create, and we invite everyone, the students of the 5th form, the students of the 11th, we get together.
So I'm for sure stealing out this idea from you. And I believe that was the true purpose of this session also. So yes, I will make a note of it. I would like to have the same question to you, Suzanne, and Matthew give his perspective from his part of the states, and it's quite a big country, I must say. So I would like to have your perspective when we talk about that. What are you predicting on base of present situation? Leave aside the government actions, but still the present situation of when schools will revive. That is one. And secondly, the part of the question that when are you expecting, how are you expecting to work on the learning gaps, the skill gaps which have already happened in students at this present scenario?
Um, Being in South Florida, we're really heavily populated. It's very dense here. So actually there are 3 counties in Florida that are on a different plan, we think, than the rest of the state. They are hoping to open in the fall, but who knows? We will be done May 29th. So I have an interesting perspective because I have a child who is a high school senior who's graduating, and watching him with his classwork and how he has been progressing through the year. And I also have 2 little girls who are 4 who will be going to school in this whole different environment. What I'm hoping is that to address a learning gap is that we, in this district, in this country, are able to shift the teacher-led discussion model that is normally a classroom of 26, 27 kids into something that is more student-led and something that is more indicative of demonstrating learning and capacity through either technology or an art form or an integrated version of those ideas. So instead of having a teacher lead a lecture, the students are sharing their own analysis of a concept or an idea through technology, through an art form, rather than a model of testing and lecture. Because watching my own son, they cannot sustain distance learning and video chat for 6 or 7 hours a day. It's just too mentally exhausting for them. So it has to move to a model that is more student-led, and they have to engage. I think, as Matthew was saying, we have to have the students step up and take charge of their own learning in a way that we have not been. because it's too easy for them to become passive, especially when it's learning through a computer screen. So we'll have to, we're getting there, we're learning that. We're gonna have to get there very fast.
So, Susanna, I know that you have two girls at home, and I just want to have more clarity with this thing. That yes, maybe in age group which is more into high school or maybe middle school, we can expect that student-led learning can happen because they can just design things and redesign things by themselves. But when we talk about the age group, the young ones, the early age group, they are even difficult to lead in a classroom. Somebody who has been in a primary classroom would understand this fact that I always say that I used to be an administrator. I always used to say that my champ teachers are my primary wing teachers, because they have that patience to stay with these 20, 30 kids at the same time, who are just running around in the classroom. Now with these kids who are into younger age group, I just want more clarity with the fact that how do you think that actual learning is happening? Because I don't feel so. I feel that maybe the higher grades are studying, but this particular age group will have a gap which will remain for quite a time now. So what's your suggestion on this one?
It's going to be interesting to see. I think a lot of the teaching of these younger children is going to fall on the parents. And as a parent who is trying to ready my children to enter school, they have been in a preschool environment where they're learning with other children, and now they are at home learning with me. And yes, I have to do a lot of entertaining and tap dancing to keep them on task. So I have been using a little bit of a program called outschool.com, which offers educators around the world an opportunity to present lessons and try lessons with children who select them. So I've been working with my girls to look at classes online that they might be interested in, so they have some voice and choice in what they're doing, even at 4 years old. Because if they have selected it, then they are interested in it. And with some degree of success, and some not, because they will simply walk away from the screen if they are not interested. I have to stay there with them and try to keep them engaged. It's gonna fall a lot on the parents. And for those of us that work full time, we're in for a challenge.
I actually second your thought. I have a 6-year-old at home and then a 2-year-old, 16 months old at home. And when my son is having a school, I have a parallel school happening for me because of him. As he never sits in front of the screen, they run webinars and he just wants to run away, and I'm just sitting. So it's like 5 hours school that I'm attending for grade 2 presently. Yes, there is a challenge with young kids. Okay, so now we will just move ahead, and we have with us Sareen. I would like your contribution from Turkey, and then we have with us Spawn, and we would love to finish this session further. So yeah, Sareen, so would you like to contribute on how do you see things over there? Because Turkey, as far as my understanding, they take steps a bit in a quick way. There's a different routine they follow. I've always loved the type of technology you're using in classrooms and the methodologies they are adopting over there. It's way advanced to what we are using. So can you just like to elaborate on things over there?
Yeah, in Turkey, we also estimation is start to 1st of June. Especially we design a program and plan programs for the 8th graders, the exam students. We start to make program for them, and for the students who are preparing for the exam, start to come to school. Because they need to prepare it very well. We take so serious about that graders. But in this process, actually, as a teacher, we learned so many things, and parents also. Parents learned how to teach their students, and they have really hard times at home. The first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the students are so willing to attend the lessons, distant lessons. But now when we are talking with the parents, they have really difficult time at home to manage the students. But we use so many useful programs. For example, we use sometimes Zoom or the Perculus program we use. It's so efficient. We share so many documents. We give so many assignments to the students from there. And we also have accesses from the free library. We share so many passwords to our parents and students, and they have now access to so many audible files, documentaries, libraries, so many books, and we also follow them. And we use social media so well in Turkey. How about your country? I don't know, but we use social media, Instagram, Facebook, so well. And we want them to make some challenges. I share some of them with Andrea, and they also attend our challenges. And for example, tongue twister, mental labs applications, we use so many things to attract the students' attention. I hope we will get through this together. But anyway, we are ready if the schools open properly or not. We are not sure, but we are ready for the situation because we learned how to manage these online lessons. I think we will get through this quickly, and we will collaborate each other.
Thank you very much, Sareen. And when you ask about how we use social media in India, trust me, our youth is drowning in social media, and I just want them not to do that. So we are using it extensively in such a large population. You can find complete India right now on TikTok and platforms we don't want them to be on. So fine. So now, Kwan, I would like to get to you for this question, the same question, and maybe last but not the least, I would like your contribution on the matter.
Yeah, many of you, like your students, my kids and parents are really struggling to complete their homeworks by me. So, and actually my worries about them is the gap of learning abilities each other. So to decrease the gap of learning ability, I record some activities uh, and upload to the online platform and every day. And my students are also recording their activities at home, and so to make them happy to learn, I sometimes sing a song through the online, and I sometimes uh, try to uh, stretch and to make them watch me and do the peak classes. And the other question, South Korea, we have different semester systems. We start new semester March, and semester and grade from March, and have summer vacation on July and August. So from the start of COVID-19, we closed the schools, so the number of days of summer and winter vacation decreased. But Korea government made the online curriculum system. The online opening period has been recognized as a regular curriculum. Uh, and I heard the news that Korean Ministry of Education are planning to open the school from some days of May very carefully. And high school seniors are scheduled to start school first because of their exam schedules. And like my kids, primary school students will come to school later than the high school students. Actually, it is not decided yet, but many of the officials are preparing and surveying the best days that we could meet again with the students. But I think the most important thing is the safety of the children. And quarantine system is fully demanded, and the spaces between the students are needed. Also, the cafeteria they eat lunch school be carefully cleaned to open the school. And I hope to overcome all of these barriers, and the pandemics could be repeated again. So the subject of the future education will be learning extensibility, it will be important to create conditions for students to learn in any spaces.
Okay, thank you very much, Kwan. That was quite a good input that we are creating those spaces for our kids, and yes, the education system is working in that direction. But anyway, I must say that in this whole point of view, uh, education, learning, teaching, this can wait, but the safety of our kids cannot. And I would very much say that yes, it was needed. The lockdown was needed. The complete change in system was needed, because when it comes to priority, the health of our kids is at a, it's more at priority in comparison to the complete education system or the online teaching that we're doing right now. So yes, now I would like to thank you all for being part of this session. It was an amazing session. It was the first practice, the first session we did, and we plan to do a lot many sessions going further. And I want to learn, I want to use this opportunity to learn from all of you, going further again and again. And I love this idea of the global school. Maybe we can create one, maybe we can create this environment, and this session can be the beginning of we being global educators teaching each other that what is best suited for us, and what maybe we can apply the similar idea in our own country as well. So yes, thank you very much. A big round of applause for all of you for being part of the session.
And thank you so much for setting it up too.